An OU professor says she is suing the university, and new developments in the investigation of former President Boren. Plus, we're watching a chance for severe weather right here on OU Nightly. Those were the former words of former OU Dean Suzette Grelot calling for the resignation of President Gallagly. Hello, thanks for joining us for OU Nightly. I'm Aspen Endriss.
And I'm William Soule. Professor Grelot's war of words with the university may end in a courtroom. She says she's filed a lawsuit against OU President Gallagly and Provost Kyle Harper. It comes on the heels of her demotion as dean and several other cutbacks to programs she was involved in. OU Nightly's Lauren Linville joins us live from the College of International Studies with what's in the lawsuit.
$5,000. Will in Aspen, Grelot has filed a complaint with the U.S. Department of Labor. She's claiming gender discrimination and retaliation for protected speech. The details are all in this lawsuit. She's asking for over $75,000.
But I simply can't stand by any longer and watch these individuals use this public institution as their own imperial playground.
Grelot, a tenured faculty member, has been employed by the university since January of 1999. The lawsuit highlights her removal as Dean of the College of International Studies, Vice Provost of International Programs, and title of William J. Crow Chair in Geopolitics. The University of Oklahoma released a statement saying they have not been served with a copy of the complaint and has not had an opportunity to evaluate the allegations. OU will file court documents to respond that we are confident illustrate the university acted appropriately and fulfilled its responsibility to treat all employees fairly and equitably.
As you may suspect, this lawsuit will also demonstrate a clear pattern of retaliation that I experienced for exercising my First Amendment rights to speak openly about matters of public concern.
Grelot emphasized her continuing support of international students and says more detailed information will begin to surface as this process continues. You can read the entire lawsuit on OUNightly.com. Reporting on the OU campus, Lauren Linville.
Thanks, Lauren. Emma Sears joins us now with more threats from President Trump.
President Trump says he will close the nation's southern border next week if Mexico does not immediately stop illegal immigration into the U.S.
Run out of space, we can't hold people anymore, and Mexico can stop it so easily.
This is not the president's first threat to close the border, but this is the first time he has given a deadline. In Florida for the weekend, the president said he could close the border to trade for a long time. It now looks as though we'll see a Mueller report by mid-April, perhaps sooner. In a letter to the chairman in the House and Senate Judiciary Committees, Attorney General William Barr says his department is making redactions and that there are no plans to submit the report to the White House for a privileged review. The Justice Department says the report exceeds 300 pages. And the United Kingdom lawmakers have rejected the government's Brexit deal for a third time, leaving the date and terms of the UK's departure uncertain, along with the retirement of Theresa May.
Thanks, Emma. And the Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation has joined the David Boren and Trip Hall sexual misconduct probe. OSBI confirms it has been investigating allegations against the former OU president and former vice president of university development. OU police has been leading the investigation. They asked OSBI to join in the effort. In an article published by NonDoc earlier this week, Boren's former teaching assistant, Jess Eddy, claimed both Boren and Tripp took part in inappropriate behavior.
And Aspen, we came back from spring break with some warm weather and brought the warm weather back with us.
I know. Jake Mammen is here to tell us if these warm temperatures are here to stay. Jake, what can we expect this weekend?
Yeah, Aspen and Will, spring, it feels a lot like spring outside, right? 68 here in Oklahoma City, 69 here in Norman, and if you're behind this front, it's a little bit chillier, 47 up there in Guyman, and this front will begin to push its way east throughout this evening. Earlier this morning, though, we had a couple of severe storms here in central Oklahoma that produced some hail and some cloud-to-ground lightning, but right now, rain and drizzle from the Oklahoma-Kansas border and just north of Guthrie, that'll continue on. Coming up in Maine weather, severe storms, the cooler temps ahead, and that possible freeze. Guys, back to you.
Thanks, Jake. Ground broke at Will Rogers Airport today as construction begins on multiple projects to improve Oklahoma City's airport.
Plus, a Maine hospital is about to have more babies than it can handle. We'll tell you why after the break.
Welcome back. Last month, Norman police asked for help in identifying a suspect in a reported stalking case. OU Nightly's Luke Hall has an update on the story.
32-year-old Victor Flores is in police custody today, accused of being in connection to a stalking incident last month. Police believe that Flores is the man in this surveillance video, seen peeking into the windows of a home on McCullough Street. The story all unfolded when a woman 2 streets over called Norman police on February 3rd after a man entered her home. The woman called police, and as the investigation began, she notified her neighbors to be cautious. Residents of this home then checked their surveillance video and saw a man peeking into their windows on February 2nd, the night before the reported burglary. After releasing a sketch and asking for help from the public, Norman police now believe the man peeking into windows was Victor Flores. In an interview from last month, Norman Public Information Officer Sarah Jensen said the department is grateful for the quick action the residents took in reporting these incidents.
We're incredibly proud of these citizens for being socially diligent and being very observant.
Those reports allowed the police to gather as much information as possible and began a search for the suspect.
As soon as we were able to compile an image of who we thought this individual was, it was essential for us to get it out to the public so that we can get this individual identified.
Flores has been booked on 1 count of loitering around residents to watch occupants. Flores has not been charged with anything related to the burglary that took place the night before. That investigation is still ongoing. In Norman, Luke Hall, OU Nightly.
Will Rogers World Airport broke ground today on its latest terminal expansion project. The $89 million project will result in a new East Concourse with 4 new gates. An observation deck, which will be accessible to people without tickets, is included in the new concourse. The project includes renovations to the existing terminal, and the central elevator will be relocated to relieve congestion in the ticket and baggage claim areas.
People are going to see some construction walls, they're going to see some tunnels over escalators, that kind of thing. So we're not really moving things around too much, but they are going to encounter some detours and construction walls.
Construction is set to be complete in 2021.
And it's been a pretty gloomy day out today.
Yeah, Jake, we'll be back with a full look at weather straight ahead.
That's right, guys. Here's a live look at the Kessler Canyon with dark clouds rolling in. Who could see that severe weather? I'll have more coming up after the break. Welcome back to OU Nightly, guys. Well, it's springtime in Oklahoma, and you know what that means. It's storm season, right? Well, this is kind of a representation of where that cold front is staying right now. It's up here in northeastern Oklahoma where the winds are coming in from the south, and again, behind the front, those winds are coming in from the north. So let's talk about that severe weather for this evening. In the shaded areas in yellow, that's a severe risk extending from northeastern portions of Oklahoma through central Oklahoma and down just north of Lawton. And this is the area where we could see the potential for storms if they do develop to produce golf ball size hail and gusty winds. But I think this area right here, if we do, depending on the timing, that's where we're going to see the biggest chance for severe weather. So again, like I said, those main threats for tonight, if any of these storms do go severe, hail is going to be up to the golf ball size. Winds will be gusting upwards of 60 miles per hour, and there is a low tornado risk, but I don't think that we're going to have to worry about that for this evening. Okay, and so those storms will move on throughout the evening and begin to kind of linger throughout Saturday morning, and this is where we're going to see the greatest chance for those storms to be be tomorrow morning, where they're kind of starting to rain out and move on out to the east. Lows for this evening, 40 degrees here in central Oklahoma, 42, 40 there in Norman. It's going to be really chilly up there in Guyman, where those winds are going to be gusting 10 to 15 miles per hour from the north, but our warm friend down here in Idabel is about 54 degrees. Highs for tomorrow, 40s across the state, so it's going to be a little bit chilly tomorrow with those winds again out of the north after that cold front pushes through, and winds up to about 20 to 25 miles per hour. Wind chills for Sunday. This is going to be the most important thing. Wind chills for Sunday as you guys are headed to church. They're going to dip down into the low 20s, 23 there in Woodward. Wind chill of about 27 degrees there in Guyman. So overall, it's going to be a really chilly day, and that's where we could see the possibility for a freeze overnight Saturday and into Sunday morning. So if you do have plants, be sure to cover them up or move them inside Saturday night and into Sunday. And again, if you are going to church, make sure you bring a jacket. Your 2-day forecast, 48 on Saturday with a chance for rain lingering on throughout the morning, 51 on Sunday, sunny though. And the rest of the week, 56 Monday with a slight chance of rain at about 20%, 68 on Tuesday. And then we might see the 70s by the end of next week. Guys, that's all I have. Back to you.
Now, I don't know if there's something going on up in Maine or something in the water, but a labor and delivery unit at a hospital is expecting some big changes between now and July. Check this out.
All right, 9. That's right, 9 nurses are currently pregnant. These 9 nurses make up 10% of the delivery nurses at the hospital, and they are all working 12-hour shifts 2 to 3 times a week. They also say that it's great practice for all those sleepless nights they are about to experience. And unfortunately, that's all the time that Will and I have here at the desk, but don't go anywhere. Big Friday Sports is coming up.
That's right, Parker Thune and the team is here with the latest on spring football with the spring game only 2 weeks away. Parker?
Yeah, William and Aspen, as the spring game approaches, all eyes are on Kyler's heir apparent, Jalen Hurts. Plus, Sooner Nation is taking to Twitter to try and rope Cale Gundy into getting some ink. We've got that story and plenty more ahead on Big Friday Sports. What's up, everybody? This is Big Friday Sports. Parker Thune, Meridith, Mulkey. Meridith, you know baseball's back as I'm sporting the Dodger blue. They had a great opening day. We'll get to that later on, but for now, let's kick things off right here in Norman.
Parker, football season is back in Oklahoma, and of course, so is the excitement. With the new year comes an abundance of changes, including a different quarterback for the 3rd straight year. Big Friday Sports' Zach Brown is here to tell you all about it.
With every OU football season comes great tradition, and perhaps even more so, higher expectations. No one would be more familiar with that than new quarterback Jalen Hurts. But filling Baker or Kyler's shoes is something he's tuned out. Instead, he's more focused on changing the mindset of everyone around him.
I'm a firm believer in that, if we continue to kind of practice the same habits, do the same things, we'll 9 times out of 10 end up getting the same results.
OU has a long history of quarterback greats that have come through the program. And as everyone is well aware, the battle for the next QB1 at Oklahoma is on. Being a quarterback here is tough. Just ask Tanner Mordecai.
It's just standard here for quarterbacks. Really high standard, higher than anybody else, and we have to keep that standard. As Kyler leaves and as Baker left, Kyler took it over and he withheld it, and that's what's expected for the next guy.
The other side of the ball is undergoing quite the makeover as well. Defensive woes have plagued the team in recent years to the point that even great quarterback play couldn't overcome it. Alex Grinch hopes his new speed D scheme puts an end to all that.
I want to see guys play with some level, and quite frankly, a high level of energy. Guys run around, and the thing we told them going into it, we can have bad plays, we can't have a bad day if we play with tremendous effort.
Winning rings is what OU is all about. The team has a long proven history of being able to retool rather than rebuild. If everything goes as planned, perhaps this will be the year OU finally gets to hoist a national championship trophy. Zach Brown, Big Friday Sports.
And OU football has Twitter buzzing about something other than all its trophies and recruits. It all started when former lineman Cody Ford tweeted a picture of his new Sooner tattoo.
Offensive coordinator Cale Gundy replied saying he might get a sleeve himself, but it'll take a good amount of retweets. Even Lincoln Riley chimed in telling his followers to make it happen, but I don't think he wants one himself.
Rumor on the streets is if Cale gets 30,000 retweets, you're getting a tattoo as well. Is that true or?
No, that's not. This is all him. He's the only one with 12 of them. So if I catch him at 12, I'll get one too.
Okay. Sounds like a deal.
Yeah, but we're gonna make sure he gets that too.
Meanwhile, men's golf is in the second round of play at the Goodwin Tournament today in Stanford, California. The number 4 Sooners are currently tied for 7th with San Francisco. Garrett Reband is tied for 5th, while Quade Cummins and Patrick Welch are tied for 34th.
And senior Brad Dahlke made his first appearance of the spring during the opening round. Now today, the Sooners were paired with Stanford and USC. The boys will finish off the tournament tomorrow, and I'm sure they won't be in a hurry to leave sunny Cali.
And OU baseball is also on the road this weekend as they play a 3-game set against West Virginia. This could be a tough one for the Sooners as the Mountaineers are undefeated at home this season, but the Sooners have a 5-game winning streak against WVU and lead the overall series 13-9.
After a tough luck loss to Oklahoma State earlier in the week, OU will look to bounce back this weekend in Morgantown. The first game of the series is tonight at 5:30.
Moving over to softball, the ladies pushed their win streak to 20 this week. That's right, 20. This team is on fire, Parker, and it doesn't look like that'll be changing anytime soon.
Meredith, how are they not number 1 in the nation? I can't understand it. Regardless, the second-ranked Sooners will take on Utah in Salt Lake City on Sunday with a doubleheader starting at 1. If you want to catch your Sooners in action, you can stream the game for free on Facebook Watch through the Pac-12 network.
And that's not all as far as Sooner sports this weekend. Men's tennis takes the court tonight. They're staying home to host a Bedlam matchup as they open Big 12 play. OU is undefeated over their last 10 meetings with OSU, and they're currently ranked 17th in the nation.
And on Saturday, women's golf will be in Arizona at the ASU Ping Invitational, where Caitlin Milligan is currently tied for first in round 1. And women's tennis will wrap up the weekend in Norman against Baylor.
We're going to take a quick break here on Big Friday Sports, but we'll be right back with lots more.
Gosh, Meredith, I'm so excited to talk baseball. We've got your full rundown of MLB opening day action when we return.
Hey guys, welcome back to Big Friday Weather. Well, this weekend is going to be a change for once, okay? It's going to cool down a little bit. On Saturday at about 48 degrees, that chance for severe weather will go overnight and into tomorrow morning, so that's why I have that 70% chance there on Saturday morning. Sunday, though, 51 degrees. So like I said, Saturday the rain ends. It's chilly. Sunday, though, the wind chills could dip down into the 20s, so if you guys are going out for sports-related events, you guys might want to bring a jacket. Guys, that's all I have. Meridith, Parker, back to you.
Thanks, Jake. And I'm no meteorologist, but the winds are certainly changing in Philadelphia.
Sure enough, Meredith. Bryce Harper, fresh off that $330 million contract, feeling the brotherly love. Not a spectacular debut. 0 for 3 with a pair of strikeouts. Philly got plenty of offense, though. Take a look here. 7th inning. Reese Hoskins off of Luke Jackson just unloads. A no-doubter to left. That's a grand slam for the Sacramento State alum. Phillies roll 10-4 over the Braves.
Meanwhile, up in Milwaukee, the Brew Crew scored an opening day win over the St. Louis Cardinals.
That's Brewers pitcher Jolice Shakeen going deep. Hashtag pitchers who rake.
Even so, Milwaukee needed Lorenzo Cain to pull a little highway robbery to preserve the win. He goes up for the final out to secure a 5-4 victory.
Okay, Meredith, now let me brag on my team for a second. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. How about 8 home runs for the Dodgers on their opening day? Yes, that is an opening day record in case you were curious. Dingers flying out of Chavez Ravine all afternoon as the boys in blue steamroll the Arizona Diamondbacks 12-5.
Now, the reigning World Series champs didn't have the same luck in their first action of the year. The Red Sox went up to Seattle and took it on the chin from the Mariners.
Rough night for Chris Sale. Boston's ace lefty got pummeled for 7 runs in 3 innings. Tim Beckham took him deep twice, and the Red Sox bullpen didn't fare much better. Seattle romps 12-4.
Parker, off to the hardwood we go. We saw 4 teams advance to the Elite 8 last night.
Yeah, Meredith. Mark Few's Gonzaga Bulldogs needed a late push to stave off Florida State, but they survived. That's Zach Norville with the big bucket. 72-58 the final. Tennessee and Purdue. Carson Edwards clutch with the free throws to force overtime, and then once they get to overtime, Matt Harms takes over. The big man throwing it down. The Boilermakers escape 99-94. and make it 2 straight trips to the Elite Eight for Texas Tech. Jarrett Culver looking like a man possessed. Tech dominates Michigan 63-44. And finally, Virginia shaking off their March Demons. Ty Jerome, take a look from the wing here, off the pass and hits the dagger. Tony Bennett's boys edge Oregon 53-49 and advance to the Elite Eight.
And the tournament action continues tonight. Fresh off a heart-stopping win over Maryland, LSU takes on Michigan State. Roy Williams in North Carolina will look to slow down the hot-shooting Auburn Tigers as they do battle in Kansas City. Plus, after surviving an upset bid from UCF, Zion Williamson and Duke go up against conference foe Virginia Tech. And finally, Kentucky will take on Corey Davis and Houston.
Now, Meredith, keep in mind, Wildcats star forward P.J. Washington missed the first 2 rounds of the tourney with an ankle injury. Kentucky coach John Calipari says he's unsure if Washington will play tonight, something to keep an eye on there.
Well, the Thunder are in a tailspin as the NBA playoffs draw nearer. They've fallen all the way to 7th in the Western Conference. Can they kick it back into gear, Parker?
Oh, we'll find out tonight if they can break the malaise. OKC hosts the Denver Nuggets at the Peak, and Paul George's status is up in the air as he recovers from a shoulder injury. They'll tip off at 7 o'clock as the Thunder look for just their 3rd win in 8 games.
And Parker, we've seen some pretty spectacular plays in sports this week, but which ones stand out from the rest?
Well, Meredith, it's that time. Let's get to the top 3 plays of the week, and we start on the links. Tiger Woods down in Austin at the WGC Dell match play. 13th hole from 83 yards. Take a look. He's going up against Patrick Cantley.
And you know, Tiger's got to be excited about this one.
Finds the pin from 83 yards out for eagle. Goes on to win over Cantley. Now moving on to play of the week number 2, Lorenzo Cain. How about this one? Jose Martinez deep to right center off Josh Hader, but Cain goes up and brings it back for the final out of the game, preserving the win for the Brewers on opening day. What a play. It's a mystery to me that that man has never won a Gold Glove. And play number 1, how about Jeremy Lamb? You've seen it already. How does this find the back of the net?
Incredible.
Beyond half court, after losing the inbound pass, just throws it up, and somehow it ends up finding the basket.
Crazy. Well, that's all we have for you on this installment of Big Friday Sports. Thanks so much for tuning in.
We hope you'll join us again next Friday. Until then, we leave you with some of these year's most memorable moments from the first 3 rounds of March Madness.